Well, hey there, hello there, and good day. How you feeling? How you living? This is Finally Free with me, Delores Jones, your comeback coach. I just want to start out by giving you a lot of love today. Is that all right? Thank you for being such a big part of my day and for boosting my Facebook Live. I'm telling you, you all are hot, and I got a new book that's going to be hot off the press, and I'm going to tell you how to get that. But today we're really going to focus on how do we keep you encouraged when you're feeling discouraged? You know, because life happens every single day. But the question would be, when you fall down, are you going to stay down? Or are you going to get back up? I mean, the choice is yours, right? Well, when I thought about discouragement and overcoming, I think my guest today epitomizes what that looks like. And so he is going to share with you his story, parts of that story. He's also going to talk to you about his strategy. And we will even take some phone calls at 816-599-6893. We'll see if that can happen for us today as well. My guest is Mr. Wesley Hamilton, you know, stranger to Finally Free.
Not at all.
Not at all, not at all, not at all. You know, the last time you were here, it was so great, I had to have you come back for some more because you have an amazing story. Kind of give us a background from, you know, just a snippet of what you shared with us last time.
Early 2012, I was shot and I suffered a spinal cord injury, and it was the day that my life changed for the better. Went through a lot of depression for my first 3 years, as well as dealt with being overweight, which I was 230 pounds. I want to say was my max. I needed to make a change for my life, so I decided to make that change and just started learning nutrition, started to become more positive within myself, stop allowing my struggle to be my identity. I couldn't let something that I had no control over continue to control me. And this life in a wheelchair wasn't going to be just a life in this wheelchair, but instead it was going to be a limitless life, even though people might see me with physical limitations. So I started a journey of nutrition, and I educated myself by going to school to be a dietitian, which I lost 100 pounds within a year. Well, I came up with a nonprofit, Disabled But Not Really, and at that point I just wanted to kind of help people with disabilities become more active in life. Well, once I started to go travel and go to expos, I ended up finding out about the fitness community within the disabled community. And it was very intriguing for someone like myself who never did fitness before my accident and really didn't see the will of doing fitness now. I just knew that I was 100 pounds lighter, and so whatever I wanted to do, I was capable of doing. So got into fitness, became a wheelchair bodybuilder and adaptive CrossFitter. Now I compete nationwide. Doing pretty good, actually. And I have a constant motivation by my now 8-year-old daughter that's looking up to me every day. And, you know, she helps my drive, she helps my will, and she gives me the strength that, you know, my legs can't give me. Every day I'm pushing myself to be better than I was yesterday, and it comes from just that little girl. I am Wesley Hamilton, and I do more than one could see me doing.
Yeah. Yes, I would have to agree with you. You said a mouthful, as the old folks would say. Young man, you said a mouthful, okay? Wow, Wesley, so many things went through my mind as you were recapping some of your story. One of the things that I'm impressed with, you don't really go into a lot of details. You know what I mean? Sometimes when people are in the midst of a struggle, and maybe you did that back then, but they'll say, well, yeah, he rolled up on me and then this happened, and then I was like, You know what I mean? Did you ever go through that phase where you got stuck in the details?
I did it the first time I ever got in front of an audience. I dragged my story on forever.
Uh-huh.
And what I realized was that it was never off of my chest. And so that was the day that I was free. That was the day I allowed myself to become free, because I had let all the emotions out and I put it out in front of a group of people. And it wasn't something that I just kept telling myself at home. You know, I can't, you know, instead I was able to let it out. You know, sometimes when you're angry or anything, you need someone to talk to. And I had a whole audience of people, and they was going to hear that story from,
Wow.
you know, and now it's no point of me dragging this story on, because it was just a little part of who I am today. All I can do is just tell people that it was the best day of my life, even though some might look at it as the worst day of my life.
So are you referring to being shot and being left with a spinal cord injury as being the best day of your life?
Oh yeah. I love my life, and I love who I am today, and being in this wheelchair got me to the person I am today. And so I cannot look at being shot as a tragedy. I look at it as a blessing in disguise, and a plan that was set for me before I even knew it.
Right. Today on my Facebook page, I put a post. I had a revelation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm good for that. Right? So I put on my post today, mistakes become life experiences or life sentences. When you think back about the events that transpired, do you assume any responsibility for what went down?
I mean, yeah, I put myself in a position that was, you know, I guess drawn out of maybe, well, emotion. I put myself in a position that I guess my heart made the decision over my mind. Mm-hmm. And I own up to it, because if it wasn't for how I felt, I wouldn't have been there.
Okay, so for those of us that don't know where you were and why you were there, can you tell us that?
So I was in South Kansas City, and it was my birthday weekend, but I had just broken up with a lady friend of mine, and she hit me with that, I'm pregnant.
Oh.
So I was out shopping out at Sam's Club in Grandview when we used to be there, and she stayed right across the street. So I'm like, well, let me go over here and talk to her. I had just got full custody of my daughter, and the last thing I needed was to be in a situation just like I just did with my daughter's mom. So out of, you know, the love for the girl, even though we wasn't together, I wanted to go and talk about it now and see, like, how can we make a compromise. Well, when I got over there, there was a male friend with her, and it just escalated. It was a situation that escalated without anything verbal. The guy was inside the home and never came out the home, but instead he was intimidated by me, I'm assuming, and called a friend of his. And so, as I thought, when the guy actually finally came outside, you know, I let him know there was no issue. I was just over here trying to figure out what was going on with the child and things like that. And he said, all right, thought the situation was squashed. Walked back to my car and was shot 2 times. Turned around, and as I was getting shot the second time, I'm looking at a man that I had never seen a day in my life. A man that I had never spoke to. A man that obviously was just there because he had got a call from a friend and thought it was going to be something more than what it was.
Was he charged?
Yes, he was.
Did he do enough time, in your opinion?
He did. I mean, I feel like, yeah, he did what he needed to do. I'm sure he probably woke himself up from the situation.
How long did they give him, you know, in prison?
Maybe like, I wouldn't say 5 to 7 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, recently there's a story here in Kansas City. The violence is just ridiculous. There's a young lady who apparently had an argument with a friend.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're gonna define that one day. And it was another young lady. And so I guess this was like payback, right? So the young lady that is now deceased had contacted her mother because she was at a wedding reception. And her mom said, well, you know, what's going on? And she says, I think she pulled off the side of the road. And I think either she was needing some gas or something else. And her mother was on the phone with her, and her mom asked her, do you need me to come? And she said, no, Mom, I'm good, because I think she had her cousin or someone in the car with her. And the people that had this issue with her, the young lady, pulled up on the side of the road. They found her on the side of the road. The guy in the car got out of the car with an AK-47, is that what it is?
Mm-hmm.
And another car, and he opened fire. And he shot the person, I guess her cousin, and she lived. But the girl, he literally emptied all of the bullets into her. He shot her dead multiple times. I think they said he emptied 2 guns.
Oh, wow.
Later I learned that the guy, that was his girlfriend, meaning he was stepping up to take revenge for his girlfriend.
Mm.
And from my understanding, he was actually related, let me get this right. He was a twin brother. His twin brother had babies with the young woman he shot and killed.
Oh, wow.
Now, who does that?
He do.
Well, he did. Now, we'll see
Oh,
how that's
wow.
going to play out
That's
in the
sad.
courts. But it's some foolishness going on out there.
Yeah.
You yourself, I definitely want to know, did you find out if the baby was yours?
She was never pregnant.
Oh, my Lord.
So, you know, when you battle depression and you feel that, you know, you got put in a position and you never knew, and you didn't know why, you know, you're like, why did I even go over there? You know, why did my heart tell me to go? Why didn't nothing stop me? It gets you to a point where you have to look at the bigger picture, and that's where I found my purpose. And that's why I say that it was the best day it happened, because it happened out of a situation that drew me there, that wasn't real, but it changed every part of my life in a better way.
Your perspective is like very rare. You do know that, right? You do know that. I'm thinking about this again. The young lady calls you, she tells you she's pregnant
Mm-hmm.
with your child. You're wanting to basically step up and be a responsible young man. So you're at Sam's,
Right.
you're close to her place. Why didn't you think to call?
Because I had deaded all the communication, so I had changed my phone number and things. When we broke up, I just didn't want that backlash.
Mm-hmm.
So she kind of hit me through like social media and things, and you know, so kind of I just felt the need to just go over there. I didn't want to call. I didn't want her to have my number, things like that. So
Okay. So were you feeling like the love bug thing or something, or like
No.
a hangover of love?
no, because even when I got there and I seen company, I was ready to leave, and she told me to stay.
What?
Like, you know, the guy was walking in the house and she flagged me down like, no, you can stay.
Excuse me?
Let's talk.
Was that her boyfriend?
No, I don't think they was even together.
Okay, I'm gonna close my mouth right now. Okay. I'm not understanding it. I'm sure. How long did you replay that story over and over and over again in your head? Like, I should have just stayed at Sam's.
Well, I should have just went on and did something else, because like it was my birthday weekend.
Okay, so
So-
you had just turned what?
24.
24, and then how many days after your 24th
5.
birthday? 5 days after.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Like, so I was just going to Sam's. I grocery shopped actually with my aunt, and then we said bye, hugs and kisses. I'm like, I'm going over here. Like, I had just got my hair cut, so that was the last time my hair was cut. So it's like a symbol for me, because my hair's pretty long now.
Yeah,
but
it looks really good too. Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so it replayed, you know, and the fact that it wasn't that I didn't know that she wasn't pregnant right away. She played along with the story maybe for about 6 months in.
Wait a minute. Now, excuse me?
Yeah.
You said you had an idea that she wasn't pregnant.
No. I didn't have an idea.
Oh, so you went along with it for 6 months.
No, at that time it was like the beginning stages. You know, it was kind of like broke up. Like, oh, you know, I wanted to tell you I was pregnant. Boom. Oh, all right. Well, then I get shot. Then, you know, go through rehab, go through everything, and she's kind of here and there. Like, she had eventually moved out of state, and you know, but she was still playing that role like she was.
Okay, so after you got shot, basically it was like you were kind of lured in.
Yeah.
On some levels, you know. Did you ever forgive her?
Yeah, she's forgiven like the God's forgiven.
Okay, and how long did it take you to do that?
It took me to find my purpose. I had to get to the point of just knowing my position, you know, and what it was going to do, what this did for me. And I realized that I could not live a positive life and have hate in my heart for anybody.
Did you have like some spiritual awakening, or what happened? I mean, no, you didn't wake up and go, ta-da, I think I want to forgive them.
No, I just started to make a change in my body, change in my life, and ultimately it changed my mind. And once I started to feel good about who I was, even in this position, I mean, I'm free. I'm free now, and I was trapped even when I was walking. And you know, and to me, you know, if you can open the doors for me to become free, even with physical limitations, I just can't fault you. And you know, when you say you free, you know, I used to listen to Bob Marley like every day, and you know, that song, Redemption Song, like it's so powerful, you know, and I feel like my mind was in mental slavery, you know, and I had to get out of that. And this was my way of getting me out of it. You know, I looked at everything that I did in life before I was paralyzed, and I can't say that I was the most positive person. But I looked at all my sins as being washed away that day. And I had a new jump start on life.
That actually, but it took you time to look back at that and appreciate it.
It took me to get my body to a different point. You know, like once I started losing the weight, once I started pushing myself past the limitations that I had set mentally, then I was able to do more. I was able to, you know, I had that drive, and I started to see my purpose. So it took about 3 years for me to find my purpose, and that was 2015. And now every day I grow more and more. Every day I become a better Wesley. Every day, you know, every day I'm in love with my life more than I was in love with yesterday. And and honestly, I give it to the people that put me in a situation that people would think that was messed up. And I don't look at it as that. I look at it like it was angels all around me that day.
Okay, you all are wondering, who is this man that's talking about being in a wheelchair and being shot and suffering a spinal cord injury that left him unable to walk and paralyzed from the waist down? He is Wesley Hamilton. What a man, what a man, what a man. And Wesley Hamilton is the founder of a nonprofit called Disabled But Not Really. He is a friend of Finally Free, where we actually move people, Wesley, beyond labels, limitations, and low self-esteem. You epitomize that.
Well, thank you.
Well, you're welcome. Perhaps you have a question, and when we come back from a break, then I will take your questions. I'll give you the number, 816-599-6893. That's 816-599-6893. You're with me, Delores Jones, your comeback coach on Finally Free. All right, my girl Janelle Monet, honey. We're here free in Kansas City. That's right, that's right. You're listening to Finally Free with me, Delores Jones, your comeback coach. I know my Facebook fans were like, where you at, girl? Where you at? honey, I'm right here. So you holler back at me and let me know you're right there, and I'll take your questions. The number is 816-599-6893. We're talking about being finally free. We're talking about being, moving from discouragement to destiny. And my guest epitomizes that. His name is Wesley Hamilton. He is the founder of Disabled, but Not Really. So check this out. Wesley was minding his own business, right? 5 days after his 24th birthday, he had got word that his former girlfriend was pregnant. So he's out shopping at Sam's. Something says to him, Wesley, go over there and holler at her, because you want to make this right. So Wesley, being the gentleman that he is, gets in his car, he rolls over there, he gets to her house, and he realizes there's another man there. So he decides he's getting ready to leave. But the woman, the young woman, says to him, no, don't go. So he turns around to start talking. I think the other man comes out, have a little conversation. And basically Wesley saying, hey, I ain't got no beef, we're good. But before Wesley can make it back to his car to leave, a man he has never seen before pulls up in a car and shoots Wesley how many times?
2 times.
2 times, hitting him in his spinal cord, leaving him paralyzed from the waist down. He later found out the young lady was not pregnant at all. Wesley says that being shot and left paralyzed in a wheelchair was the best thing that could have ever happened to him. Wesley, help us make sense of that.
A lot of us live a life where we never wake up. Being shot woke me up. I see myself as being more than I would have ever became if I was walking. I look at people that are older than me, that are, in the Kansas City area, and 10 years ago, you're still the same way, the same way you were 10 years ago, because you have no ambition. Mm-hmm. You don't know how to set goals. And I was that type of person. I went with the trend. I went with the lifestyle that we all have here. That mentality.
And what is that mentality that we have here?
It's the hood mentality.
I'm listening.
You could, there wasn't no opportunities. There wasn't many doors that could be open besides, you go to school, you graduate, you can go to college if you can, but if not, you just find a good job, whether it's in a factory, a warehouse, or something like that, and you just feed your family. And that was me, and materialistic things were more important than your life itself. Mm-hmm. And I was that type of person. And once I got in this wheelchair, besides, being in love with nutrition, being a fitness fanatic now, but the level of growth that I seem to want to put, that I have every day. Every day I know I can grow more. Every day I know I can be more than I was yesterday. I didn't have that drive when I was walking. I didn't have that drive when, I could wake up every morning and take advantage of the life that was given to me. Instead, now I know that life can be taken away from you in a blink of an eye. And so when you've experienced something like that, you wake up, you become more, you start looking at yourself as not a failure but a creator. And I look at myself every day as me being able to create more for my life in a manner that we as black people do not get, because we don't have a lot of people around us that are literally trying to influence us and show us the opportunities that we can make for ourselves. And so now that I've opened those doors, and I know that I opened those doors for me, mm-hmm. and I did it by myself. It wasn't that I went and found somebody that knows somebody. No, I literally put myself in our front line. I didn't have nobody telling me oh well, you eat this, you're gonna lose 100 pounds. I went to school to be a dietitian, just had a will and wanted to make a change in my life, and lost 100 pounds and fell in love with nutrition. And then I went, and I didn't have nobody saying, oh well, man, you're gonna look good if you lift weights. No, I just knew I had to be stronger than what I was, and especially with the physical limitations that I had in front of me. So when I had that will to become more and to do it for myself, I realized that this became so much more empowering than a life of just thinking that you were limited mentally, being a slave mentally, as my boy Bob Marley says, you know. And I wanted to be limitless mentally, and it drove me. So now I'm at a position where I'm not just one of those guys that is going to make accomplishments in life and move out of town. Instead, I'm one of those guys that want to make the city change. Okay. I want to change our youth, because I know as me growing up, and I grew up on the east side of Kansas City, you know, there wasn't much opportunity that we could see in front of us. And even though in a wheelchair I didn't see opportunity in front of me, I made the opportunity that I saw. And so now I'm teaching people how to create your opportunity, because we can all be more than what we see. We can all live on the west side of town that we drive up and down and say, man, I wish I lived in a house that big. Well, you can live in a house that big. You just have to have the mentality and the mindset to put you there. You have to put yourself in, you have to grow. You can't not let yourself be the same person you was yesterday. You woke up for a reason. So you don't want to look at when you went to sleep, whatever problems you had as problems you have as soon as you wake up. When it's sunlight, when that new day starts, that's when a new change in your life starts. And I truly believe that. So I couldn't look at being shot as, you know, something that I was going to dwell on. Right. I couldn't dwell on it. Instead, I had to make something happen out of it. I had to be a creator. And now I can say I'm a boss. I have my own platform. I'm literally driven to do more. I was featured in Men's Health magazine. Like,
yes, you are.
And so when I speak to our youth, like I spoke to some yesterday, what I let them know is that when I was growing up, I never could see myself in a national magazine. When I was growing up, I didn't see anybody else in a city in a national magazine. But when I started to create the opportunities for me, those opportunities started to come, because now I have a drive that a lot of society does not see in black men. I stand on being myself. I have not changed because of the opportunities. Instead, I showed them that I can define all stereotypes that you see in men and show you something different when I open my mouth. It's really giving a different perspective, not only on the disabled community, but the black community as well. I look at this as a purpose for me. I look at myself as being born to motivate and being born to inspire. Like anything that I've dealt with in life, I can sit there and relate to anybody, you know, from being disabled, being shot, you know, being a troubled youth, being in and out of schools. Like, it's so many things that I can look at in my past life. And now, as I motivate, I'm not just motivating you to say, hey, this is what you can do. I'm telling you, I didn't see opportunity 10 years ago. I didn't see opportunity 5 years ago. Now I see opportunity 30 years from now. And it's with the change of a mindset that got me here. And it wouldn't have got me here if I was not laying down on the ground bleeding out.
Do you think it had to? Do you think something that extreme had to happen in order for you to dream?
Sometimes tragedy is the only thing that can get us out of the position, the mental state that we're in. And it didn't have to be that extreme, but this was a plan. It was extreme for me because it was set for me. I'm not who I am today because I just thought, oh well, I had to be better. I had to overcome. No, I know many guys that are in wheelchairs and they're still battling depression 10 years down. Well, I battled mine 3 years and became more powerful in my own mind than I had ever been, and so many people see. It's only 5 years for me, and I have guys that's 17 years in, like, man, I still don't have the mentality you got. So for me to hear that and to see that, I know that this was a plan. I had to go through the struggles just to become who I was. I had to go through everything to be able to motivate someone else, not only by motivation, but to say I understand and I went through it. And so that's what empowers me, is because I know that everything that I went through, it was a reason. And this was all a plan that I never seen. But now that I see the plan and I'm starting to live that plan, I'm free and I feel so much. I feel good. Like I'm finally free, right?
Yeah,
you know
that's
what
right.
I mean?
That's why you're here with me. Yes, Wesley. Yes, honey. Yes. Finally free with me, Delores Jones. I am sitting here like beaming with joy and excitement and a motivation listening to Wesley Hamilton. If you didn't know him today, now you do. You better ask somebody. Now, you've said a mouthful, like I said, as the grandmothers would say, baby, you said a mouthful. I have so many questions, right? And maybe you all have questions. The number here is 816-599-6893. Also on my Facebook, people, you can hit me up and Mr. Walker will get me your questions. You said I was trapped even while I was walking. You said my mind was a mental slavery. Let's see. Basically, you also said something to the effect, categorize me, I defy every label. You said to create your own opportunity. You even said that you had the hood mentality. So you see, you said all that because you need to put all those sections in your book.
Right.
Okay? All right. I spoke that over you. So I'm going to need you to handle that. Is that all right?
In the process of writing my book.
Okay,
now.
all right then.
So,
all right.
yeah.
All right. Give me a shout out, up in, your introduction.
Right.
Okay. But the hood mentality, I'm not that familiar. Okay?
Okay.
And so when you said you didn't see it in your neighborhood, but because someone asked me this question this week. Are we all presented with opportunities? Or are there some of us that are destined or not supposed to be successful? And so I never got to see what you saw.
Right, okay.
So what do you say to someone that's all they can see? But you said you were in a wheelchair before you woke up. I just want to know, can you see it before you end up in a wheelchair?
Well, you have to, sometimes a lot of kids look up to somebody, regardless.
Okay.
And a lot of them look up to, some type of public figure, but that public figure is not around them. Mm-hmm. Well, you can have an idol, but if your father, your uncle, your brother is not making progress, is not, is literally trapped in a mental state where that they're okay with poverty, and that's,
So that's what you saw at first.
Yeah, I mean, everybody around me, I was, like I said, I grew up in the hood. Like, I didn't know what out south was until I might have been like a teenager when my mom moved to 66. And before that, we was, I remember Hilltop and Blue Valley and, 38th and Bells. Like, those were places I stayed in, and there was no opportunity. Even my mom and my father, like, my father did work, but he worked for someone. Like, now he's a creator. Now he has his own business, but it took him to be over 50 to get there, so to me, and my mom, she worked, she's a hard worker, but she worked multiple jobs, and that's what we see. When we see that, that's what we see ourselves as being. And when I say a hood mentality, because a hood mentality as a culture, a lot of us were built to work. Or, when I always stress to people, segregation was only like 67 years ago at the most, you know what I mean? And so you think about my grandma and them, and once they got free or free of opportunity, all they knew was I needed to work and go to school so I could be better. Well, Then they have kids, and that becomes our parents. And so our parents have that same mentality to work and go to school to be better. You know, but then we get hit with the crack epidemic.
Okay.
And so then our communities don't become better, they become poor. And so when you're a kid that grows up in that, all you see, the rich people that you see are drug dealers. And you see fancy cars going up and down the street, but those people aren't living a life of in a legit way. And so when you're in the hood and you see that, your dreams become theirs.
Wow.
Your dreams become what you see. I was around friends. I never was the type to buy rims, but all my friends would get rims. But we would still stay in the house with an air mattress. But you had a clean car. So now I done switched, and I have a mentality where my money goes to investing in my business. My money goes into being more of an impact in my community. Instead of clean Jordans, a fresh car. I don't care, as long as my car run, I don't care what it look like. As long as I'm getting point A, point B, I'm good. Well, when I was younger, I didn't have that mentality. And so that's why I say, like, the hood mentality, you are trapped. You're trapped thinking that the only opportunity you can get is probably to make a lot of money. It's probably either getting a good job at Ford or being a drug dealer.
So when you went to school, didn't they bring mentors or speakers to talk to you?
When you go to school and you bring somebody that's only comes out of prison, and all they can do is tell you that their lifestyle was this and that, and now they changed, you thinking that you only gonna change by going to prison.
Wow.
And so that's only, when I think of mentors that came around me, it was people that came from prison. You know what I mean?
It wasn't like presidents of companies.
No. No. I don't remember at all of someone, a CEO, saying, hey, you could be your own boss today.
Wow.
But when I went and spoke at a school yesterday, and I told those kids in front of me that they could be entrepreneurs and they could be bosses, at least 3 of them came to me and was like, you touched something today. And it was an alternative school. And they was already misguided. And I let them know that whatever mistakes they made yesterday does not have to dictate who they are today.
Come on now.
And so that's one thing that we didn't get when we was younger. And I didn't get till I woke up, because not only was I paralyzed, my surroundings disappeared. My friends disappeared. My family disappeared. So I had to literally push myself and make an opportunity for me, or I was going to be drowning in sorrow. And so now that I found that opportunity, and even though I'm in a wheelchair and I found it, literally I'm in a position where that I'm out here helping others not go through some type of tragedy, or not go through prison or the system, to understand that they have an opportunity. Instead, I'm that one that's saying you can be your own boss. If you have a dream or a goal, then you can literally live up to it by pushing yourself. Don't worry about $250 pair of shoes. Spend $250 and get you some business cards and present yourself in front of some business owners. You know what I mean? Like, literally put yourself out there. I had to let the kids know, you have technology in the palm of your hand. So make that work for you. You know, drive yourself. One kid said he wanted to be a basketball player, but he didn't think that he could be one because they don't get selected as much. I said, well, how much are you pushing yourself? Are you waking up every morning? Are you getting up at 5 a.m. starting to play basketball before you go? Before you go to school? Are you working after you get out of school? Are you recording yourself, pushing yourself, doing everything you need to do? Practice dribbling, practice shooting, day in, day out. Hard work honestly gets recognized before talent. So if you're constantly pushing yourself, those people are going to look at the one that's talented, but he's going to be lazy. But we are facing poverty every day, and we know the struggle. And so when I say, even with people with disabilities, don't let your struggle be your identity, that goes for everybody that grows up in the hood. Do not let the struggle that you see when you walk outside be who you are. Because it's not. All it is to teach you that you can be more than that. If you think you're going to put your mom in a big home, then you push yourself to get her there. And that's all I know now.
All I know and you are phenomenal. And he is Wesley Hamilton, and he is definitely finally free with me, Delores Jones, the comeback coach. Honey, you gonna just be That's all I'm saying, But I want to throw a resource out there because you kept talking about mentality, and you talked about the young man who wants to be a basketball star.
Right.
Well, here locally, I don't know if you know Michael Watson.
Yeah.
Okay, so Michael Watson, I'm pulling up my Facebook page. He has an event that is coming up, and so I'm trying to find it so I can announce it because I think there's a deadline for this thing. Okay, and while I'm trying to find that, what do you say to the politicians? Because you know, when it comes time for elections, people are saying the programs they're going to bring and they're going to do all this, and what do you say to them? Because they're not in the hood.
You're not in the hood. West for mayor, right?
Okay, yeah, I think
You know
I think we
what I
could
mean?
see some different changes.
But you know, I literally feel that if you're not coming from the environment that you're trying to change, you will never know how to make that change.
Ooh, honey.
And so, you know, for someone like myself that's experienced everything, I have a different, you know, impact on lives. And you know, you can be political all you want, and that's fine. You know, make our streets better. Ooh, give us a park. Ooh, but what are you doing for us?
Yeah.
What are you doing for our youth? What are you doing when you see it's constantly crime, but the crime is only there because they don't see no more. They don't see opportunity. You know, where are the constant workshops? You know, you got people like, you know, Terrell Ray that got boys empowerment workshops, you know, and things like that. And he's doing events and teaching our kids how to cut grass and make ties and tie their own ties and cut hair and all these different tools that, what if we had these constantly? What if we constantly had something to teach our kids that they didn't have, they can tie their own tie. They don't have, you know what I mean? Like, that's empowerment.
Yeah.
You know, what if we have people like, you know, myself or, you know, motivational speakers like Ryan Harvey and, you know, like even like Michael Watson, like he's been there at Terrell Ray thing, you know, and, you know, you got people like Marcus Walker, you know, that's literally focused on taking girls to another level in basketball. You know, it's like, what if we had an opportunity to do this for our youth all the time? We don't need one event. One event's not going to do nothing.
Right. Let me throw out Michael Watson's event. And it actually is going to happen on September 16th. That's next week.
Okay.
In the Raytown Middle School. No, actually, the 15th is Saturday, I think, right? Let me give you the number to call. It's 816-239-0424. That's 816-239-0424. And it's Michael Watson's Mentality Tryouts.
Yes.
So if you live in Raytown, it's half price, but I'm sure they make it affordable. I see something here like $20. I mean,
Shout out,
yeah,
Michael.
Yeah. You know what I'm thinking? I want to have you and Mike on the show together because you both have that same vibe. And I think this will be an awesome show. And maybe I'll find some politician that can come in here and sit with you so you can tell them what we need to make other people finally free.
Oh, they know what we need. They just won't do it.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that too. Wesley Hamilton, it has been a pleasure, my dear, to have you on Finally Free.
Thank you.
You my guy. You my guy. Hey, check us out Tuesdays and Thursdays from 11 to noon. Finally Free with me, Delores Jones, your comeback coach, baby. I'm here waiting for you at 98.5 FM, KUAW, but definitely you can holler, you can call me even on Facebook. Make it a great day and an awesome weekend.